hopefully we've got everything going on. Give me just a second. I will share this across sites. All right. Looks good. Okay, cool. I need to get it there. All right. If you can hear me, let me know. Oh, okay. Oh, I will use. This is not going to work, is it? Nope. That's all right with me. All right. We ended up last time before our little hiatus. Hopefully I can keep this going for longer each time. Either way. We've done air temperature, the bags or kit mentality, carving and blade safety, distance, pace speed, edible wild plants, fire from the flint and steel, get the gifts of nature. We've talked about heat stroke and heat exhaustion. We have talked about iodine for water purification, journaling, knot tying, layering, mental health. Mental health. Today, after going all the way to M, from air temperature to mental health, today is nautical knowledge. I don't know if you caught on the last end of the previous one, I gave a little bit of hint as far as this compass goes. And navigation is a really good guess, but navigation, I need to actually watch myself here. I keep forgetting about that. View our channel and live. Okay. Yay, good afternoon, Jared. All right. Nautical knowledge. So I do have time in the Navy in one of the jobs that was it's literally the oldest job in maritime of any kind is the boatman or boatswain's mate, as it is called today. That was my job position, and so I am uniquely qualified to be able to give out some nautical knowledge. Now, the coxswain, or the not the coxswain, the oh my gosh, I've forgotten his name. The name of the job of the guy that does a lot of the orienteering type things while out at sea. Compass is used by everyone when it comes to the people that drove the boat and things like that. I've driven the boat. I was on a USS McInerney. It was a fast frigate with guided missile capability, currently decommissioned. It was that old when I was there. I think we sold it to the Malaysian Navy. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're on nautical knowledge, stars and compass degrees and things like this. Now, when I teach, there are instructors in the martial arts arena that try to learn as many different little facets of knowledge about different ways in which to present the technique, such that way, no matter who you're talking to, he knows how to say the words to make that person understand. That being said, I take a little bit of a different approach. I created an understanding of footwork as it applies to the degrees on a compass. So we'll do this and a few other things. In the meantime, we always have north, south, east, west. There's your foot. There's your other foot. Your attacker always comes from the north. Think about that from that point of view. Your attacker always comes from the north. So if we say step out with your right foot at a 45-degree angle, pointing at a 45-degree angle, we are actually talking about southeast. And we can actually get degrees in there, even though the specific number isn't really all that important. We can talk about how I was unprepared enough to not have something to erase with. How about that? I am now. This is such an old board. I need to get a new one. I'd have a new one. I'm utilizing it in a different way right now anyway. All right. We can say the attacker comes in and you're going to sidestep. So this foot steps to the side and faces east, while this other foot comes to match it as the guy steps in with his front punch, straight punch. Now, everything resets the moment you take a step. Now that's north. And if his arm is extended and your idea is to come up from under his arm and then turn around and face south to throw him off balance, kind of sort of off in that direction, not exactly southwest, kind of like southwest. But you use that terminology to make it make sense, to assist in the making of sense. So we use the compass rose in that way: north, south, east, west. I knew I didn't want to write the whole big line because I would get it off center. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I don't like doing anything unless I'm doing it right. Everyone knows this one. A lot of people don't know these. North, north. North, or I'm sorry, this one would be east. Why did I put an N up there again? I probably shouldn't have done today. Oh well. East, northeast. So you can get some detailed, some granular understanding as far as footwork goes in the martial arts arena, martial arts world. This is bushcraft. We're not going to use that in that way. We are going to understand that in the now you're going to have to understand, you're going to have to look this up in your own region, but we have a 23 degree declination difference between actual north, true north, and magnetic north. Declination east. Just that being said, if this is the Earth and you got longitude and latitudes going up here, equator, prime meridian's kind of off over here towards Africa. Anyway, true north and magnetic north are not right on, not the same point in space. They are a little bit off. Where I am in the southeastern United States, we've got a 23 degree declination. Just that means is when your compass is pointing north, true north is 23s to the west. It's an opposite thing. That's unimportant unless you have a map with you, or unless you know the terrain well enough to understand that what true north actually means. I will add two things. One way to find out north in the woods. This takes time, and that's a good thing. If you're in a survival situation, so where a lot of these skills kind of mesh up together very well between bushcraft and wilderness survival. If you're in a wilderness survival situation, you don't want to move unless you have to move. And if you have to move, then move. But you want to stay right where you discovered yourself lost. Okay, because the more you move, the more likely you will be further away than the people looking for you when the time comes. So don't move. But if you have to move, get a stick, put it in the ground, like so. Let's say the sun is up here, shining bright. The more cloudy it is, the worse of a situation. The more cloudy it is, the less you're going to have to worry about north and south anyway. You need shelter. But anyway, so the sun's light rays are catching and casting a shadow on the ground. That's easy. Can you see? It's a little washed out from my point of view. Jared, let me know if you can see the specific diagram on what I'm doing here. Anyway, I'll keep going until I know different. So we have a stick in the ground, big old sun with its rays coming out. This is a top-down view. Good, thank you, sir. So right here we've got a top-down view. And the shadow is coming across down here like this. Now this technique works for both northern and southern hemispheres. However, you do the math differently in the southern hemisphere. So what you do then is you get a string or another stick that's that long, break it off to the right size, and make a circle all the way around. I'm shortening this side just because I don't have room. Make a circle. As the sun travels, it'll create the shadow. Will do it in the morning. The shadow will shorten because that's what shadows do in the morning time towards noon, and then it'll come back out in another location. So first of all, mark the location it was. And then mark the location it hits the circle again. Okay? You mark those two locations up. What's going on here? Hold on. Pardon, guys. What? Okay. I'm thinking that's the wrong kind of situation that I don't need to be into that. Okay, cool. All right. So then you've got this line here. Okay, so we've got the dot here, we've got the dot here. This was the beginning, this was the end of it. What you do is you draw a line in between that line, in between those two dots, and then you draw a parallel line. That right there is your compass rose. And that right there is north. Okay. I believe it would be, and I believe it would be south if it was in the southern hemisphere. The point that's towards the stick, the point that's towards the stick would be south, as like people in Australia would do the math. I say do the math. We're not adding anything. If you don't have a compass, do this. Take time. And like I said before, if you're in a survival situation, You want to do something that takes time. If you have time, if you're, if it's cloudy and stuff like this and you're going to have rain soon, hurry up and get that shelter. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. When the rain subsides, if it's still daylight, fix your shelter, make it better. If it is nighttime, go to sleep. Um, if it is too cold, so I'm giving you I'm giving advice from people in the lower uh, longitudes, uh, lower longitudes of the U.S. Because it is more often the problem is more often heat stroke and heat um, exhaustion than it is freezing or gangrene or anything like that, freezing to death. Up in the higher latitudes, you're going in the U.S. and Canada, you're going to really have advice that is more geared towards surviving a cold environment. Down here, we survive warm environments. It's the completely opposite. We'll have people dehydrate and be found in the woods with canteens because they were trying to save their water. That's another story. But anyway, one way to find your compass degrees, find your compass bearings, find your bearing, is to do that right there. Now, what that does is if you know already that you were hiking and your hiking situation was going south and that you did all of your due diligence when it comes to preparing for your hike by getting the topographic map, get a topo map, and bring in your compass and say you fell and lost your compass. Say you fell and lost your orientation gear, all of it. But you did your due diligence by studying where you were going and what directions I mean, even though there's a winding path, right? What the direction the wind eventually ended up being. So if you're in the AT, the Appalachian Trail, there's a lot of switchbacks and turnarounds and things like this, but there's a specific, like it's a one direction. If you zoom out enough, you'll see it goes up in a northeastern direction all the way from Georgia to, I think, New York. It's a huge mountain range. Of course, mountains aren't small. So you know that if you started in this location and that we're going north, northwest, east, you find your map, you fell on the left side as you were going north, it might not be too hard to get back on track. But that's a part of it. We had when we were on the boat, we had two compasses. We had a stationary compass, which is where I got the idea for the footwork. And then we had an actual moving compass. And so we'd have a stationary compass off to the side, which would tell us our direction of travel. Then we have another compass, and it would tell us where north was. 360 degrees, that's 270, so that's probably about 300, maybe 308. So our direction of travel would be 308. And then we would have down here would be our rudder indicator, and it would be an upside down triangle. And when I turned the wheel, which was this little thing, it was probably about this big actually. It's hilarious. So I turned the wheel in this direction, the rudder would come out here like this, and say the nautical term would be left hard rudder, left easy rudder, come to bearing 270. So I know 270 is west. That's just what 270 is. I want this to be where my north is, here. And so I'm going to, even though that's west, I'm going to say this west. So I'm going to do that until this matches up with that. And then I'll come back around and I'll actually make it a little bit more on one other side to slow down our rotation as we travel. And then I'll even up and then stay on track. And so that's one way to in which we used nautical knowledge in the Navy to position ourselves where we wanted to go. I'll need water for that stuff. There were other things. There's sextant. I didn't know much about a sextant, an sextant. It is a maritime instrument that is literally, all it does was tell you the angle at which the center of the sun is from your location. Now, if you know the direction you're traveling and the angle of the sun and where it is in the 360-degree angles, then you can calculate where you are on the planet. This was way back before GPS. This was 17s, 18s, 1600s, back in sailing ship days, and they had a compass and they had a sextant, and they did the measurements, and they were highly accurate. Now we don't need the skill. We pop up on our little GPS navigator, Waze or whatever, and then we go to where we set it up and let it tell us where we should go. I grew up as the official navigator of our family trips, and I had my map out. I knew where we were and where we were going, what our next 3 stops were, turns or intersections, or anything that would help us with the next few things that changed our directions. So that's kind of pretty much it. I wanted to give a small thing about the shadow stick. It's called the shadow stick method of finding north. What a lot of people will tell you is, if you've got a long enough stick, if you make your stick tall enough out of the ground such that your foot is by the dot and your hip is by the where the stick is, right? If you make it that big, then all you have to do is put your feet at the next time it hits the circle. Put your feet on those 2 dots and face the stick. You're looking north. Let's do a few more things. Let's talk about aiming off and handrails. So aiming off, I'm going to use the term aiming off in orienteering. It's basically using your compass and then aiming for a thing, right? If there's trees everywhere. These are trees, not clouds, even though they're terrible clouds. That looks like a freaking mustache. Okay, there's trees here. You're here, top down look. And you figured out that is the northern direction. The compass tells you that's north. But you need to go east. And so you're going to aim off to that tree. Those are 4 trees that are higher than the rest of them. Maybe it's an outcropping of rocks, whatever. It's a thing. It's aiming off is choosing an object that's easy to see and going straight to that using the degrees angle that you were wanting to go. So, for example, I kind of chose even numbers. Look at that, northeast, northwest. Anyway, that's aiming off. So you go to that tree, and then that tree is your new orientation point. Right? You go to that tree, and then you find, if you're trying to still go in that same direction, you aim off to something close to it. Here's the thing: if you're doing that, if you're at this tree, there's the trunk, there's you, whoop, underneath the tree. And you're going in this direction. Let's say this is your desired direction you want to go. and there's nothing there. There's a tree here, there's a tree here, and nothing. When you pick both trees, you want to go here. Okay, so you identify and you keep both trees in sight until you get to a point where both trees look the same. Then aim off again. Handrails are different. Handrails are really cool. Handrails are anything, any aspect of the environment, any aspect of the geology that you can follow. We kind of keep actual game trails off that list because they can change. But rivers, riverbeds, creeks, ridge lines, rock outcroppings, maybe not rock outcroppings, they're more of a point, not something you can follow. Dirt roads, things that don't change over time easily. That's a handrail. So what you do is even if you don't want to go to it, you can walk with it in sight, and so long as it's in sight, you're following that handrail. You choose left or right, go whichever way you know that would be the best decision if you had to travel. And that's what a lot of people did. A lot of people, a lot of Daniel Boone and these guys right there, they use these type of methods for years and generations as well. So that there's nautical knowledge. There's also land knowledge, and they don't combine, but they do still mesh well. So that's this episode's checked off right there. Boop, boop. Hey, there it works. Checked off. All right. Next one is O, guys. Oh no. Uh-oh. Next one is uh-oh. So I do want to take a moment to apologize for being unavailable. I'm still only halfway through what they call summer enhancement. It's a special. In fact, I don't think it's in Georgia. I think we're the only ones in Georgia to do this. I'm within the educational system. I work with special needs on the high school level. However, summer enhancement is designed for middle schoolers, and I don't know if I have the energy to do that for much else other than just that. So what I should have done was a couple of episodes back said, "Hey guys, we're about to have a little break. I'm not going to be able to do anything but focus on what I got to focus on, and I'm going to be exhausted. So you just give me a time, give me a break." That's what I should have done, but I didn't, and as a result, I do apologize for that. Let's see, get some other things going on here. Summer enhancement is actually pretty interesting. I'm learning some crazy stuff with it. I'm a teacher, I'm an instructor, even though I'm a parapro in daily life. I'm an actual instructor for summer enhancement. Is like, it's 2 weeks. We're halfway through, so I got another week to go. But it's 2 weeks of what I would call an elective class, a class that's fun, specifically designed for the gifted enrolled students. So they're already pretty high functioning, high levels, and there's other classes. They've got archery. We've got one of them's called grand gardening. There's the chocolatier, which is things about chocolate. You get to make chocolate stuff. 5-minute crafts. There's all kinds of different things. My subject teachers get to choose the subject. My subject 2 years ago was basketry. This year, I tried basketry again last year. It didn't have enough people take it, so I did this year. I did wilderness survival, and I have two completely full classes of middle schoolers whose energy drains the life out of me. Wonderful kids. I love them, actually. They're really amazing. But I'm learning a lot. And what I'm learning is really how to teach. Because if I can keep the attention of these middle schoolers for a long enough period of time and keep them going, my classroom management skills and stuff, things like that, um, and explain these things like this right here. That's actually going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to be doing some stuff with compasses. But if I can keep their attention and interest for a long enough time, then and have them understand it, then their my skills as an instructor gets better. And that's actually where I'm going forward with that. It's you get paid crazy amount of money. It's actually really good. It's kind of lucrative to do, but uh, I'm exhausted. And were I to write the things that I had learned last week in a notebook. This is one of the ones I haven't actually filled up yet. I'd fill this one up, at least. So, I don't write small. I guess that's a benefit. What was it? Friday, we went to Callaway Gardens and went on a little field trip. That was exhausting as well. There's an old saying that Mr. Malmstrom would say, and it's caught on in a lot of different ways. Bud Malmstrom from the Budokan. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. I may or may not disagree with all of that, but I do like the premise behind it. The idea that the quote is, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Now, personally, I am valid in whatever amount of space that I take up. I'm not going to be invalidated in any way. On another note, I need to be useful. I personally have found it immensely rewarding to be rewarding to others, if that makes sense. That being said, the more I learn, the more I can learn, the more I learn on so many different subjects, everything from how to make my website better. I've got no one else doing any of this stuff. I am my own webmaster. I am my own copy editor, even though I have my wife, an English teacher, who is really good with that as well. She's got her own thing. She's working on her doctorate, so like I need to leave her alone. But I oftentimes don't. But she's always helping with a smile, so she's more of a ninja than I am. Where was I? Besides in this room. Next, we're doing O, PQR, STUV, WXYZ. I should probably do this. It's 52 weeks. We're doing it once a week. I thought about doing it. In fact, I probably will start doing it in July. It being doing this twice a week, because life doesn't stop for us, and I'm not going to stop our living just to do this thing. I mean, I don't think anyone should expect that of me. But communication, they should expect that. And again, I'm going to do a better job of being communicative, and so that people know what to expect. That being said, I think after this week, there's next week. next week is free. I'll be able to probably do 2 of them that week, maybe 3 even. The week after that begins 2 weeks. I will be out of state, but I will still work to. You'll see a different background, but I will still work to see if I can. I'll bring my tripod and everything, and create it. So the timing may be different. It might not be Sunday at 1 o'clock or whatnot. So be mindful of that. I'll put out the word at least. I know it was short notice this time, but at least I'll try to put out the word at least 2 hours beforehand. If I can't do it at least 2 hours beforehand, I won't do it. We'll just put it that way. I will, when I find the opportunity, and I'll try to schedule it with the people I'll be with. It will probably be morning or late afternoon. It won't be midday. I'll go ahead and say that. It won't be midday. But anyway, that's all we've got. That's all I've got as far as today's episode. Remember, we do have our challenge going on, and so we got to figure out what's O gonna be. I know what it is. It's right there. Oh no. And the other idea, the other side. In fact, I kind of sort of touched on it, but I didn't touch on it much. The other side of optical of doesn't count this week. Opticals. Now, specifically about opticals. Yeah, you'd be able to know. Oh well. Next week's opticals. I've goofed. I goofed. Close it up. I don't see it. There we go. Ha ha. I don't know what it is anymore. That's actually a good way to think about it. Optical illusions from the heat, oasis in the desert type deal. That actually makes a lot of sense, especially on the tails of nautical knowledge and orienteering, which I could have said orienteering earlier, but opticals makes a lot of sense. So if you're in a the conceptual side of nautical knowledge is be aware of what's out there. In fact, when we went on our trip Friday to Callaway Gardens, there was a hiking situation. It was on a paved hiking trail, but in that situation, it was kind of hard for them to do because these were middle schoolers. I had a group of 28. I actually had we came to a moment, a place where we could all gather, and so I got everybody. I said, "I got to be quiet, shh, listen." And I tried to get them, middle schoolers. They're in themselves, right? They are focused on them, and this is what I experience, and this is the blah 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 blah. This stuff, and this is me. This is me. I like this, Does anybody know what a rat looks like? I have a pony. It's that kind of thing. But it's also important for them to realize that, and kind of talk to them about that. Stuff out there will kill them. Animals, look at them as food. They are literally a snack to certain animals. So, calm down. Be quiet. Listen. And in the quiet, we heard birds tweeting, and we actually found a bird's nest. They were like focused in on that. They were like, "What? No, it was so close." And I said, "Yeah, but you would have never known had you not gotten quiet." So sometimes we gotta quiet what's going on inside to see what's going on outside, because sometimes what's outside might hurt us. Yeah, what's that old phrase? What we don't know won't harm us. Try being in your earphones and reading your book or on your phone as you're crossing a street. What you don't know might not hurt you. Whatever. Yeah, it'll hurt you. Anyway, that's an old phrase, not an old phrase, but old story that I got from Bud's book. Actually, is what he was referring to that. That's a story that he had come up with as far as a way to get people to understand that what you don't know can hurt you. So learn as much as you can to know about those things outside of you, so that you can remain safe. There's two parts to any warrior, and I'll leave with that. There's two parts to any warrior. What am I doing? Okay. Anyway, there's two parts to the idea of warriorship. Okay. One of the first parts is protect that which needs protecting, and the other side of it, they call the omate and the uda side, the inside, the outside, or outside and inside, is the protect what needs protecting, defend what needs defending, right? But then the other side of it is also be something worth defending. Growing character. That's why a lot of martial arts, they have growing your character, where you're a kind person, you're helping other people, you're understanding, you're not letting other people, right, take advantage of you, take advantage of people who are in a weaker position, right, or situation, not letting, that kind of situation happening. That's actually defending, but also protecting, and also allowing for the continuation of the good things in this life. And so we'll leave it there. So today was nautical knowledge, and the concept was know what's out there. So until next time, I want to tell you one thing very important. Don't ever get this wrong. Don't ever get this twisted or any kind of way. But I do want you to get lost, but never lose your way.